12 days remain until the fourth general election in Israel in less than 2 years. Unlike in the previous 3 elections, a divisive new campaign issue has arisen, centered around a controversial High Court decision that says Israel must recognize conservative and reform conversions to Judaism done in the Jewish state as grounds for granting citizenship. In the latest poll, conducted jointly by i24NEWS and Hayom, we asked who should have the final say on legislation in Israel. 38% of respondents said the Supreme Court should have the authority, while 52% said the Israeli parliament, the Knesset, should. Still with us is Ariel Kahana, diplomatic correspondent for Hayom. Ariel, thank you for staying with us. Ariel, what do you make of these numbers? Did you expect that more people would support that the Israeli parliament makes that decision?
Yes, definitely. I would even expect higher numbers. But you know, I want to, if I may, I want to begin with the book that there is on my table these days. The name of the book is how Israeli political system was changed, and describes the process from 1990 to 2020. This is a book, if I may show it, in Hebrew. But the headline of the book, how the system was changed, is something really not understood. I'm an Israeli. I never heard that the system was changed by the public. Okay, so the numbers that you see more than 50% of the people saying the Knesset should decide is not surprising at all, because all the issues that the Supreme Court can change laws is definitely under a huge dispute in Israel. And I would even say, you can see again, you brought the numbers, that the majority of the Israeli public believe that the Knesset is the one that should decide what our Israeli values are, Israeli society values are, and so on. So the numbers, in my view, are not surprising.
So how can we explain, Ariel, this tension that seems to be increasing from one election cycle to the other between the Israeli parliament and the Supreme Court, and there are too many examples to name?
I'm not sure what do you mean in this question. Maybe you can give an example.
Well, since the Prime Minister gave his speech outside the court saying he is falsely accused of these things and is being persecuted, many lawmakers have also spoken out against the Supreme Court, reversing some legislation, limiting some legislation. It seems that the Knesset and the Supreme Court have been at odds for a while.
Yes, but I think Netanyahu's trial is a different issue. Maybe it is connected, but the main issue is not Netanyahu's trial. This dispute began many years ago. It began actually in 1991, when the system was changed without asking the Israeli public what is its opinion about it. It was changed in late night, in some unknown vote in the Knesset. Almost no one could understand that time the meaning. It's a basic law of we say Kvod Adam Becheruto, which means to respect the human rights, and nobody knew at that time that this new law in 1991 will change the system so dramatically. And the dispute began in the 90s and in the former decades, much before Netanyahu's trial. And if we are talking about the elections, you know, there is right and left here in Israel, and today it's quite clear the right, Netanyahu's bloc, is supportive of changing back the system in a way that the Knesset will get its power back, and Netanyahu's rivals. By the way, the powers are almost equal, but Netanyahu's rivals are supporting of keeping the system the way it is now, which means a lot of power to the Supreme Court, although, again, it was never decided by the Knesset that the Supreme Court will really get so much power.
Ariel, let's take a look at the next question we asked i24NEWS and Hayom together to our readers. We said, should there be term limits for the Prime Minister? 62% of respondents said there should be term limits, while 27% said no. 11% said they don't know. Ariel, is this a change Israeli politics, Israeli society is ready for, limiting the term of the Prime Minister?
Well, frankly, It's a good question. I can't remember that it was asked. I mean, maybe many years ago, but not, at least not in the last polls that I saw. In this case, I am not surprised from the results because, you know, it's a startup nation here. People want new things, new tools, and maybe new leaders as well. That's, by the way, that's the reason you can see, not in Netanyahu's case, but for example, Benny Gantz, someone who had zero power just 2 years ago, then almost became prime minister, and now it goes to Yair Lapid. So in other words, what I'm saying is that the Israeli public is well known as one who is ready to get new leaders on new tools, on new gadgets, and so on. So I'm not surprised. And what I get from this data is that, you know, from one hand, the people appreciate Netanyahu, at least many of the people appreciate Netanyahu for what he's doing for so many years, but it is a sign for him. It is a sign for him that he should give the place to someone new. Yet, if I try to combine the polls of regards the elections, and it tells me maybe the public wants change, wants to replace, but didn't find yet the one who can replace Netanyahu.
Yeah, well, we'll see in less than 2 weeks what change is coming. Thank you, Ariel Kahana, for joining us this hour with more insight into these numbers.
Bye-bye.